Thank you all so much for joining us for gaining experience with simulations, volunteering, and much more. We're excited to have you. My name is Addison Welsh, and I am an internship and experiential learning manager with career and professional development. And experiential learning is something so close to my heart, especially a few things that we're going to chat through today. So looking forward to that. Celeste, I'll pass it over to you for a quick intro.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Celeste Seymour. I'm also an internship and experiential learning manager here at WGU, calling in from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where we got about 11.5 inches of snow. So I hope wherever you are staying warm and don't have to be digging yourself out. But if you are, hopefully you're safe.
Goodness, that shoveling is never fun, is it?
No, it is not.
Well, we've got a lot to chat through today. We're going to go through the WGU, the career milestones that we've developed just to support you as you move throughout your career. And then we'll move into experiential learning and the different types of opportunities that are available to you. And through those different opportunities, we'll be sharing some resources. And then, as I mentioned, we'll also have time for questions at the end, but feel free to pop those in the chat as we move throughout our session. So we would love to know, in what industry would you like to gain experience? Is it marketing, accounting, finance, tech, anything specific that you might be looking for? Pop it in the chat. We would love to hear. Cybersecurity. Yep, that's a good one.
Great.
Definitely need cybersecurity. I love this. I love how engaged our cybersecurity students are. So thank you for being here. IT technology, okay, this is great. This is super helpful too. Digital forensics, interesting. IT, okay, great. Tech, GRC, cybersecurity, information assurance, AI oversight. Great, so we've got a lot of tech folks in here. This is good to know. It kind of helps too as we gear this conversation. So thank you, appreciate you putting that into the chat. All right, so at WGU in Career and Professional Development, we have something called the Career Milestones. And so as many of you, I'm sure you're aware, you kind of move through different stages, if you will, of your career. And so maybe at some points you're not sure what you want to do next, or maybe you need to update your resume. It's really just almost like a cycle. And so we developed the Career Milestone Journey to support you at any stage where you may be within that cycle. And so we start with basically Milestone 1, which is your career goal identified, making sure that it is that you know what you want to get out of your career. And then in order to reach that goal, got to make sure you have a career plan, which is Milestone 2. Then we move into Milestone 3, which is my favorite, which is experiential learning completed, which we're going to chat through today. And then we move into networking and really expanding that professional network that you have. And then once you're feeling more confident with that, then you move into building those professional assets. So everything from resumes, LinkedIn, whatever it may be. And then hopefully you're able to achieve that career goal. And then we also have a career wellness assessment, just to make sure that your experience with your career is just still meeting your personal and professional needs. And so each milestone has so many different resources. And so if you are stuck, maybe if you need support on your resume, maybe you need support gaining experience, whatever it might be, you can check out these milestones and they will provide lots of resources and information to help move you along. I certainly know what it's like to feel stuck in your career. And so the intention behind this is to make sure you don't get stuck. Oh goodness, here we go. I don't know why it does that. Give me 1 second. Let me stop sharing for just 1 second. I don't like it when it does that. I don't think you can have a session without having tech problems, right? Let's see here. Okay, let me get to the right slide. We'll try this again. Okay, let me share the screen. Marvelous. Okay, so what is experiential learning? Experiential learning is really the process of learning by doing. I think one way of looking at this, I heard a colleague share this example and I loved it. It's kind of, imagine trying to learn how to swim. It would be one thing if you were to go watch videos or read a training manual about how to swim, but it would be another thing if we just jumped in the pool and we learned alongside each other, right? And we know that that's a really effective way for adults as well as children to learn. And so it's the process of learning by doing and reflecting on that experience. You know, what did you learn from that experience? What went well? What can you do better next time? And you also, during these experiences, typically you're gaining experience that can maybe help you clarify what it is you want to do in your career. It's also an excellent opportunity for you to be able to apply what you've learned in your courses or previous professional experiences in a practical setting. And then you're also building skills during those opportunities. And so in terms of the opportunities that are available, there's everything from internships and micro internships, which we discussed in our session last week. If you didn't get to attend that, we do have that recording on YouTube. Volunteering, apprenticeships, simulations, study abroad. And then there's plenty of others. There's job shadow, service learning, fellowships, lots of other ways that you can also gain experience outside of these as well. And so within, as we've talked about the career milestones, we have experiential learning completed, which is career milestone 3. And so this milestone is really built to help you just kind of create structure, if you will, through your experiential learning experience. And so it's everything from helping you identify what is the best opportunity for you to help you reach your career goals, to understanding the different types of opportunities available, and how those, what are the advantages? What are some of the considerations that you might want to be aware of? We also walk through how to search for these opportunities, which we'll chat through a bit today for each of these different areas, how to succeed, and then also how to really articulate that value once you've completed the experience. And so if at any point, whether you're just starting or whether you're wrapping up your experiential learning opportunity, this milestone really can support you at any point in that journey. And so let's see, I may have pulled up the wrong slide deck. We're really doing well here. I did. One moment. You just have to learn to pivot, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So let's send. Well, if you'd like to learn about internships, like I said, you can go go check out our recording. All right, let's see here. Oh goodness. This is going well, Celeste.
You're doing great, Addison. It's nice.
Yeah, this is really wonderful. All right, so speaking of the milestone 3, one of the things that you really want to think about before you dive into experiential learning is thinking what you want to gain from this opportunity. I remember, when I've done these types of things, I've just been like, oh yeah, I'll go volunteer, but not really thinking, what is it that I want to get out of that opportunity? Is it certain skills? Is it expanding my network? Is it working in a certain industry? Whatever it may be, the more clear you are about what your career goal is, it's really going to help you understand how your experiential learning opportunity can support you in reaching that goal. And so we do have the gap analysis worksheet, and I really love this worksheet because it really helps you understand, okay, if I want to be in cybersecurity, I want to do threat detection, let's say, what are the skills that I need to gain in order to be able to get a job in that area? Is it experience? Is it certain knowledge? Is it working with certain systems? Whatever it might be. This really helps you clarify where the areas are that you need to grow so that you can find an opportunity that really helps you get there. Well, just forgive me for all of the tech problems we have today. I swear I know how to work a computer. So if you are curious about finding ways to find experiential learning opportunities, we do have the experiences section on our website, and I can actually pull it up here. Just if you go to the jobs and internships tab, internships and experiential learning, and then if you scroll about halfway down the page, you'll see find experiences. And so this is really almost like a search engine of search engines, if you will. And so there are a lot of websites out there that, you could go volunteer and be someone's babysitter in Nicaragua or wherever it might be. Some of them are really not legit. And so these are all very legit websites. And so this really helps you kind of identify what type of opportunities you may be interested in. So for instance, if I just wanted to filter by volunteer opportunities, I can see all the different websites where I can search for opportunities like that. And so this is the experiences section. Be sure to check it out. I'll pop this into the chat here if you want to go do a little searching for yourself. But that's a really great way to just get started and kind of see what some of the opportunities are out there. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Celeste, and hopefully we don't have any more tech issues, though I can't make any promises, Celeste, so forgive me
Yeah.
in advance.
No, that is okay. Well, as Addison just showed us, there are ways that we can filter for volunteering opportunities through the experiences and experiential learning search engine that we have. So let's talk a little bit about what volunteering is. So volunteering is donating your time and efforts essentially to an organization that hopefully means something to you, or experiences that mean something to you, whether they're connected to your community or a particular cause that you want to back. It's a great way to gain experience and skills
Celeste, I fear we've lost you. Can anyone else hear Celeste? We're just having a great time with this technology. Nope. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for putting that in chat. Okay. Um, well, I think we lost Celeste for a minute, so I'm just going to kind of pick up where she left off, and we'll see when she hops back in here. So volunteering is a really great way for you to gain experience as well as skills. Hello, Celeste. Welcome back.
Hello.
WebEx just seems to be having some troubles today, in
Right.
addition to me. I'll hand it back to you.
Okay, great. Yes, thank you. WebEx is like, no, not today. So just gets me right out. So you can see a lot of the benefits of volunteering right here. I think it's a great way to create a network. If you have the time to be able to donate and give to a particular cause, it's a great way to meet other people in order to and also to gain skills in a particular area. And there are a lot of research studies out there saying that philanthropy and giving back to the community is really a good thing for your overall well-being and your physical and mental health. So it's also a really great way, if you have never thought about this, to learn about an organizational culture, especially for organizations that have a lot of volunteer opportunities, like nonprofits, for example. So definitely volunteering is a way for you to gain some valuable experiential learning. But you may be wondering, is it right for you? And if it'll help you meet your career goals. So it's a great way, like we've said, to explore different career fields and try out different roles and industries. It's a great way to build your network. And oftentimes you can kind of build your own schedule when it comes to volunteering. So there's some flexibility in there. You can definitely make an impact when it comes to volunteering based on what you're focusing on and who you're impacting and what you're impacting. Um, and there are often lower barriers to entry. So application processes are definitely not as competitive as paid opportunities, for example, with internships or apprenticeships or fellowships. But you do have to take into consideration that volunteering opportunities are unpaid. So if you have the financial flexibility in order to donate your time and your energy and resources to volunteering, I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity, but definitely take that into consideration.
Before we move on, Celeste, one thing I was going to mention, just because we have some folks in here from that are looking for opportunities in tech as well as marketing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times people think like, oh, volunteering, like that's not really going to help me. But you have skills, especially in the tech and oh gosh, marketing realm, that are really, really, really desired. Okay, so you could go
Yeah.
to a local nonprofit. Maybe it could be a library, it could be a church, it could be a community nonprofit organization that supports some type of cause. And you can ask, can I, update your marketing webpage? Can I do a social media campaign for you? Can I, whatever it might be within tech that I don't know anything about? Um, but it is a really, really great way. Like if you just need experience, I would really consider, look up nonprofits within your organization, see if you can build some of the contacts within there. I'll also say, I know that for some places, you might be in a rural area. Catch a Fire, which is also part of the experiences section, is a really awesome website. You can search by cause, but you can also search by if you want to search for like a certain skill that you want to develop. That's a really good way to find some volunteer opportunities. So sorry to interrupt you, Celeste. I just thought, given our audience, it might be helpful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks, Addison.
You
So
got it.
yeah, so we're shifting from volunteering to simulations, another type of experiential learning that we offer. And so what is a simulation? It's a simulation uses different simulated scenarios in a controlled environment to help you replicate or do basically the work that you might see in a particular role or in a particular organization, kind of real life scenarios. An example of a simulation might be creating a sales pitch for a company. It might be doing some a particular data analytics project. I was poking around in Forge this morning, which we'll mention in just a moment, and there were ones there related to simulating a project manager role to manage a particular scenario type project. Imagine that you're this type of project manager, and here are all the tasks to complete that. So there's really a lot of different variety of skills and industry focus areas with it that you can do with simulations. And it's very similar to a work that you might generally do in any one of these roles. So what simulations help you do is to gain and utilize those skill sets in a really controlled kind of low risk environment. So it's essentially work that you take on yourself. It's a project that you take on. So you do have to commit to completing it in order to actually get all the benefits of the simulation. But oftentimes at the end, you have certificates of completion that you can show, that you can post on LinkedIn, you can add to your resume to show an employer that I actually went through the steps of simulating this particular work environment. So, um, so again, if you might ask yourself, huh, that sounds really interesting. I hadn't heard of that. Is a simulation right for me? So through a simulation, you can build some career relevant skills and practice tasks tied to specific roles. You are free to explore companies and roles in Forage, which we'll show you, we'll talk about in just a minute. There's actually, so these are actual companies that host simulated projects online. And so you can explore what that might look like, kind of the type of work that's done in all these different industries. These are self-paced and completely online work projects that you can do. You don't have to apply to them, so it's really actually kind of low pressure. You can just sign up, and if you feel like you can commit to completing the particular projects and you want to learn the skills that are associated with that project, then that's something that you can take on without any type of typical barriers to application or review process. But again, for this particular experiential learning opportunity, you have to consider that these are typically unpaid. The benefits, though, of the added skills and then also of certificates that you can get in order to add to your resume, that's definitely very valuable as well. So that's generally what the simulations are. So let's talk about simulations with Forage. So WGU has partnered with a company called Forage to offer self-paced, completely free simulations where you can learn these day-to-day tasks and all these different roles. And they're connected with all these Fortune 500 companies like JP Morgan, Pepsi, Walmart, lots of banks we see on there, a lot of marketing industries, those sorts of things. And there's on average over 300 simulations with over 125 employers within this database of simulations that you have access to for free and you can look up. And the great news is through these simulations, you're about 3 times as likely, if you're really interested in working with a particular company, if you complete a simulation with them, you're more likely to get an interview with them and also more likely to get that job offer. So it's a great way to learn about a company and to get your foot in the door if you're willing to put the work in to create these simulations that they put out there for students to complete. And then you're also demonstrating a commitment to that particular learning and gaining that company knowledge. So yeah, thanks. You can move forward. So yeah, so that is that's simulations with Forage. That's also on the experiential learning database, and you can go in there and start looking around to see if there's anything that's right for you. So we've talked about volunteering, we've talked about simulations, and now we're going to talk about apprenticeships. Now, apprenticeships are a little bit more of a intense training for a specific trade or profession, and they're usually much longer term, about 1 to 6 years. They often lead to a full-time role. These are paid experiences. And we're talking about a much more in-depth and intensive skill and experience development that we typically see. And so it's a great way to see if a career is a good fit for you. So like I've said, as you're considering whether or not apprenticeship is something that you'd like to do, if you do have the time to commit and it's something that you'd really like to invest in, it is a typical a minimum of 1 year to up to 6-year commitment. It gives you a really great amount of career confidence because it really shows you the ins and outs of a particular career in an industry. They are paid. It's a great way to get mentorship and to grow your network. And it is recognized as professional experience. And it's a great way to help you transition into a particular full-time role. Um, so what types of industries have apprenticeships? Typically, there are a lot of industries that offer them, but the ones that we've listed here on the screen here are typically the ones where we see the most opportunities for apprenticeships. So education, energy, financial services, technology, and telecom. In addition to some of the other kind of trade professions that you've seen in terms of agriculture or construction, they also have apprenticeships as well. And so, if you're interested in learning more and you want a good place to start, in addition to our professional website, Addison just put in the chat, apprenticeships.gov. It's a great place to go to look for apprenticeship opportunity across the U.S. So with that, I'll turn it back to Addison to talk about study abroad.
Well, thank you, thank you. One thing on the apprenticeships too, it's interesting because we're actually starting to see the apprenticeship model become a lot more popular in the United States.
Mm.
And so we're starting to see a lot of these come up in the tech areas. And before we hop off, I'll walk folks through where you can find basically a doc that has different ways that you can gain experience by industry. And for the tech gaining experience guide, it has different companies. I know Microsoft, Google, Apple, they all actually have tech apprenticeships, and they're typically about a year in length. And so we'll walk through that. So please don't let me forget. Um, there we go. Thank you, Celeste. All right. So studying abroad. So if you're curious about studying abroad, it is basically the opportunity for you to study at a institution in another country. You can gain academic credit that's going to help you as you complete your degree. And so there's a lot of benefits with this. I actually had the chance to study abroad twice, both in my bachelor's and master's, and it truly a life-changing experience, that's for sure. In terms of the benefits, you can language proficiency. I was hoping to improve my Spanish abilities, and so being able to live in Guatemala was super, super helpful. You can also increase your intercultural competency, basically your ability to be able to converse and interact with people from different cultures and backgrounds. You also typically are able to gain academic credit, and there's a lot of soft skill development. There's a lot of things that we get, for those of you that have traveled, I'm sure you've realized like, oh my goodness, things aren't the same, as they are obviously within my own country. And so you learn a lot of problem solving skills, dealing with ambiguity, and just really being flexible. And so an excellent opportunity. And if you're curious about finding study abroad opportunities, there are a lot of different websites. Goabroad.com is a great website. They have just so many different options for you, tons of different companies. It's kind of like a search engine for study abroad opportunities. There's also educations.com and overseas.com. You also have the opportunity where you can actually direct enroll with an institution overseas. So let's say, for instance, you want to go to the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. You can direct enroll there, just like you enroll here at WGU. That is an option for you. Some institutions, it might be a little tricky, especially if there's a language barrier, so you might want to take that into consideration. But then there's also third-party providers, and this is especially helpful for, when I studied abroad the first time, I had never left the United States. I needed a little support. And so these third-party providers, I realize this looks like alphabet soup. We've got CIAA or CIEE, ISA, AIFS, IES. These are all really, really great providers. And basically they provide you with a little bit more structure and support, both before you leave for the country, while you're in country, and then also after you get home. And so if studying abroad sounds great, but maybe you can't fit that into your life right now, there's also the option to virtually study abroad. And this is particularly helpful if you're, wanting to maybe live internationally one day or work with an international company to show that you have those skills. And so virtual study abroad is basically you're studying abroad online from the comfort of your own home. And so usually you have international instructors that are going to be teaching that subject matter. And at the end of that session, usually have the option to actually travel to that country, or there's usually like an internship opportunity that you can complete. I will say that usually you're going to have to obviously pay for study abroad or virtual study abroad. So there is a cost factor to take into consideration. However, virtual study abroad is going to be substantially less expensive because you are not having to fly. and do all the things that are associated with moving to a new country. In terms of the benefits, though, you're still getting that international experience, still meeting potentially students as well as professors and instructors from other countries. And again, still, really having that soft skill development. So having that ability to problem solve or work across, language barriers or cultural barriers, whatever it may be. Lots of opportunities to improve your skills through virtual study abroad. If you're curious, is this the right opportunity for me? It's a great way to gain professional experience. I would say, especially, if you're, like I said, we talked about, if you need international experience, maybe you're looking at, um, maybe you want to go into the State Department, something like that. This would be a really, really great way for you to help develop those skills and show that you have the ability to work effectively across cultures. Also, it's an opportunity, if you're looking to learn a second language, there is no better way than to immerse yourself in these types of opportunities.
Mhm.
And then it's really great because also you can participate remotely. And so for some students, that really helps to still have that option. So as we think about these, and again, there's other opportunities as well, but are there any opportunities that you are more interested in exploring that we went through today? Volunteering, apprenticeships, study abroad, virtual study abroad, forage simulations. There's always job shadow too, where you can actually just shadow someone who is doing the type of role that you're interested in learning more about. I know we didn't add that in here, but we'll have to do that for a future session. Virtual study abroad, I love that. All right. Internships, great. All right. Feel free to pop those in the chat here. We'll keep moving forward and I'll hand it back to Celeste.
Yeah, thanks, Addison. So we have a milestone resource on our webpage. It's called the Career Growth Toolkit, and I'd really encourage you to go and check it out, especially after you've completed any one of these experiential learning opportunities. I think back to Addison's point earlier about what experiential learning is. One of the most important parts of it is the reflection, right? So we're gonna learn better when we stop and actually reflect on what it was that we've learned. So once you've completed a simulation or you've done an internship or a micro internship or any of these opportunities that you're interested in, we really, really encourage you to sit down and think about how it impacts your career growth. So this career toolkit is a downloadable resource that you can take with you, and you can write down some of the ways in which you've learned throughout the opportunity. For example, you can see on the screenshot there, it has you write down some of the accomplishments from the experience. It gives you some tips on how to update your resume or your LinkedIn profile, ways that you can sort of it impacts your brand and continue to grow your professional brand. It's a lot of really great reflection prompts, ways to take action, and resources for you. So it's kind of a one all-stop shop after you've completed experiential learning. So definitely check it out, and we'll make sure that you get a link to that as well. So, and then in general, all of the information that we've talked about today, in addition to internships and micro internships, I see there's a lot of interest in that as well. We have a comprehensive experiential learning internship and experiential learning guide on our Milestone 3 website as well. Definitely something you can download. So it gives you the opportunity to, if you're not sure, or you're still trying to decide what's right for you, it gives you a little comparison tool, for example. There's that on the web page, and you can then look up all the different everything that the benefits and the sort of the barriers to any of these opportunities are all listed in the particular guides. That's a fantastic resource that we'd love to have you check out as well. So at the end of this session, I mean, research shows when we commit to something, we're much more likely to accomplish that task or goal. So we're going to go into a question time of Q&A for a minute here, but I want us all to kind of pause and reflect on this particular statement. After this session, I am going to blank. What is one thing you want to learn more about or commit to doing? And we've seen a couple of interest areas in the chat, like apprenticeships, internships, et cetera, job shadowing. So does anyone want to share a kind of a takeaway or one thing you'd like to commit to when it comes to experiential learning? Interested in cybersecurity apprenticeships, resume building. Yeah.
Love to see someone already applied too. That's great. All right.
Looking at projects and simulations on Forage. Yep. Exploring our website. Yes. Fantastic.
Lots there.
Yeah.
Love that. Got some good questions coming in the chat too, which I think we could move to questions. How does that sound?
Yeah. Sounds great.
Wonderful. Um, we will move into the question portion, and I know we've got a couple questions in the chat, so feel free to add your questions there. But in the meantime, as we move through the questions, if you want to complete our survey, we would so appreciate your feedback, just so that we can continue to improve what we're offering you. I love to see that there's so many people interested in simulations. And so our first
Mhm.
question is, what are the pros, cons, and challenges of applying for internships? Just started my cybersecurity degree program and have a little experience in the field. We do have a recording, and I'll be sure to include that in the follow-up email that we send, of our internship and micro internship session, that goes a little bit more into a deep dive within my internships and micro internships. Um, I would say that one of the things, I mean, there's so many pros with internships, right?
Mhm.
It's recognized as a professional experience. It's a great way to expand your network, gain skills, as well as experience. I don't necessarily think there's not necessarily cons. I think that for some students, they're working full time, they have a family, they are going to school full time. Being able to fit that within their schedule is just not an option. And so I think that that might be considered a con, but I would say that one of the challenges is that it is just like applying for a job. They're just as competitive. And so it's something that you really have to commit to. I think that folks sometimes think, oh, like, oh, it's just an internship. But you have to tailor your resume. You have to go through all of those steps. And so I'll be sure to share out that session, and hopefully that can help kind of give a little bit more insight into internships and micro internships as well. Celeste, anything you want to add there?
No, I think it's a good call out to just say that that it is definitely a time commitment, and so that's just it's just a consideration, not necessarily a con. So because there are so many valuable things to be gained from an internship. So
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, like, almost 60% of internships transition into a full-time role. There's
mhm,
so many great statistics. So
mhm.
love that. Um, Great question. Is there a website to job shadowing? Unfortunately, no. But by
Mm,
golly, if someone wants to start it, that would be fantastic because that's a really good idea. This is
mhm,
actually one of the areas I would love to develop out some resources. Like, how do you job shadow? Because a lot of
mhm.
time it's going to be within your network to reach out to someone and say, I'm interested in learning more about a role in XYZ. Can we have an informational interview, or would it be possible for me to even spend a half an hour to an hour um, learning more about your specific area? Um, so no, there's not a website, but reaching out to people, even just asking for those informational interviews, which on our milestone 4, I believe, the professional networking, I think that there are some resources on there about how do you reach out, cultivate those networks. All right. The simulation website. Yep. So I'll add that actually into the chat. And so from the experiences section, if you click on simulations with Forage, I will just put this into the chat. And then I also wanted to show, fortunately, let's see here. Let me stop sharing. There we go. My chat function on WebEx was not working. Celeste, do you mind popping that in the chat? Unfortunately, WebEx is not letting me add Forage into the chat.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me grab the link right here.
Thank you. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to show you all, and I know we've got a couple other questions in the chat too. Um, let's see here. Okay, great. Is where you can find basically like our guides for finding experience. And so if you go to our CPD website, careers.wgu.edu, and if you go under school, the school industry tab, and then click career interests, from there, maybe if it will work, it will take you to a page where you can learn more about different industries. And so, for instance, if you wanted to learn more about like information technology, which really that's going to be anything in tech, there's a little bit more information, just general information about tech in general. But then we also have how to gain experience. And so um, let's see if I can add this into the chat. I don't let me exit out of the chat, see if we can relaunch. Let me stop this. But anyhow, um, there's a lot of different websites on here that can help you find ways to gain experience. Oh, it did work that time. And so I will add that also to our email follow up. And then I know we have someone here from marketing, so I'm going to add that to the chat as well. Um, just this guide on different ways to gain experience for marketing. It's not as quite as comprehensive as tech, but uh, there's those two. And then we had a couple questions. When is scheduling an appointment versus attending a drop-in session recommended? That's a great question.
Mm.
Um, so I would say for like the drop-in sessions, it's really great if you're just like, let's say for instance, you're like, I don't know anything about LinkedIn. It's a really wonderful way for you just to learn general information about LinkedIn, resume building, networking, whatever it might be. A career advising session is really helpful if maybe you're transitioning from cybersecurity to HR, and you're not really sure how to manage that transition, or you want one-on-one feedback of, you've gone through the resume resources we have, you've updated your resume, and you just want feedback. You can have a one-on-one session with our career advising team. And so I think it's really just kind of thinking general versus specific. If you're just looking for general information, the drop-in sessions are really great. It's a great way to meet other WGU students and alumni as well. But if you're looking for something really specific and tailored, like you have a really specific question about your own career, having a scheduled coaching session probably would be the best way. And then another great question, do internships favor lesser experience or a more seasoned intern? I think it depends. It depends on the industry. Um, it also depends on the organization and what they're looking for. Some internships are really truly for entry level. I think that's why Handshake is a really great place to look. A lot of employers know when they're posting on Handshake that they're looking for students that maybe don't have a lot of professional experience. So that's a really great place to look. But then sometimes an organization might want an intern that has a little bit more experience, particularly in a specific area. And so I think it just kind of depends on the industry, it depends on the organization, but there's definitely internships that support both. Great question. Anything else? I know we've kind of thrown a lot at you today. All right. 7 seconds of awkward silence. We didn't get anything else. All right, wonderful. Okay. Well, if you do think of anything, feel free to reach out to us, careers@wgu.edu. Yes, you will get the recording. This will be sent out to you either tomorrow or on Thursday, and we'll also include all of the resources that we referenced throughout this session. But thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Celeste. Loved having you all. Thank you for your engagement and your questions, and please know we are here to support you.
Thank you, everyone. Have
Thank
a
you all.
great rest of
Take
your day.
care.